Why is a region in Antarctica blurred on Google Maps? 003 Intro Hook. What if the coldest place on Earth is hiding something hot? Why would Google blur a part of Antarctica? Who gave the order? And more importantly, what are they trying to hide? 1. The mystery begins. There's a patch in Antarctica. A strange, pixelated blur on Google Maps. It's not snow, it's not a glitch. It's deliberate. Coordinates 720US 4000E. Location, Queen Maud Land. At first glance, just ice, but soon and you'll find a blacked out zone. Why would a map meant to show the world hide the world? Is it for our safety or someone else's secret? 2. What is being hidden? This blurred region is massive. No towns, no research stations, no flight paths. Just endless ice, or so they want you to believe. Satellite data from 2012 reveal the massive structure beneath the ice. Circular, metallic, roughly 400 meters wide. Shortly after that, the area was blurred. Coincidence or censorship? 3. Theories start to rise. Experts and conspiracy theorists began digging. Theory 1. Secret military base. Antarctica is governed by an international treaty. No military activity allowed. But documents leaked in 2016 suggest otherwise. Rumors of a U.S. or even joint government facility beneath the ice. A place with no name, no jurisdiction, no questions asked. Theory 2. Ancient alien base. Queen Maud Land is old, very old. Some geologists claim the rock formations predate human life. There's a belief that aliens landed here thousands of years ago, used the natural caves for shelter, and left behind something. Could we have found it? Theory 3. Stargate or portal. This one is wild, but it's gaining traction. Photos from thermal scans show a perfect circle radiating heat in the coldest place on Earth. Some believe it's not a base. It's a gate, a portal to another dimension or another planet. And that's why Google blurred it. To many eyes, to many questions. 4. Strange events in the region. People who visited Queen Maud Land report odd things. Compasses spinning wildly. Electronics shutting off. Glowing lights moving under the ice at night. In 2001, a group of Russian scientists were flown out suddenly. No explanation. The only radio message they sent before vanishing. We found something, it's not human. Their bodies were never found. Their canopy, their files classified. 5. The Google connection. Google Maps doesn't blur places by accident. They use public satellite imagery. If a region is blurred, it's because someone told them to. Military installations, prisons, intelligence bases, these are commonly blurred. But Queen Maud Land has none of these. No reason to hide it unless the reason can't be shown. And here's the twist. That bird spot wasn't always there. Old versions of Google Earth archived screenshots from 2004 show a dark shape beneath the ice. Once users began sharing the image online, it disappeared. Today, search the coordinates, and all you'll see is a white smudge. 6. Who is involved? Let's ask the big question. Who has the power to make Google hide something? Possibility 1. The U.S. government, long known for collaborating with tech giants in national security matters. Possibility 2. A private agency, Elon Musk's SpaceX, or even BlackRock-backed research groups. Possibility 3. An international cabal. Too far-fetched, maybe, but why would so many governments, suddenly becomes silent about Queen Maud Land. 7. Connection to other UFO events. This isn't the first time strange objects under ice caught global attention. 1947 Roswell incident, military crashes a weather balloon that witnesses say looked more alien than air. Lubbock lights, multiple witnesses across Texas saw formations in the sky. Phoenix lights 1997, a triangle-shaped UFO seen by thousands. Now connect the dots. What if some of those UFOs didn't just fly away? What if they crashed, and Antarctica became the perfect cover-up? Remote, inaccessible, frozen. 8. Emotional impact. What if it's true? If there is something under that ice, why aren't we allowed to know? Are we not ready? Or are they afraid of what we might do if we found out? Think about it. Google shows your backyard in 4K, but it can't show one icy patch at the bottom of the earth. That's not a glitch. That's a decision. A choice made by someone who knows more than we do. 9. Counter-arguments and their holes. Skeptics argue it's just a rendering error. But why only there? Others say it's a natural geological formation. But why redact a rock? And then there's the classic. There's nothing there. If so, why hide nothing? Even scientists who speak out about the region often disappear from public view. Coincidence? 10. Is Antarctica the final piece? Many UFO theorists now believe that Antarctica is the Roswell of the future, not where the truth started, but where the truth ends up. A place where evidence can be buried, witnesses can't reach, and secrets stay frozen forever, unless we keep digging. 11. Final thoughts. Who decides what we're allowed to see? Google doesn't decide alone. Neither does NASA or governments. It's a system, one designed to filter truth, to protect us, maybe, to control us, possibly, to stop us from panicking, likely. But here's the thing. The moment you bore reality, you ignite curiosity, and curiosity is unstoppable. 12. Call to action. Look for yourself. Go to Google Maps. Search 7200S 4000E. Look closely. Ask yourself, why can I see every street in New York, but not a chunk of snow in Antarctica? And if they're hiding that, what else are they hiding? Roswell, the most famous UFO crash in history. 0 of 3 opening hook. What if the biggest cover-up in modern history started with a rancher and a pile of broken metal? July 1947. New Mexico, USA. Something fell from the sky. Something that didn't belong to this earth. And within hours, the U.S. military locked it down. Hard. But here's the thing. They said it was just a weather balloon. Really? Let's dig deeper. 1. IT started with a crash. Mac Brazel was a simple rancher. He lived outside of Roswell, New Mexico. One morning, after a thunderstorm, he found debris scattered across his land. But it wasn't normal debris. It shimmered. It bent, but didn't break. Some said it returned to its shape after being crushed. Others said it had strange symbols almost like hieroglyphs. Brazel brought the material to town. People started whispering. That afternoon, he called the military. That's when everything changed. 2. The military moves in. By the next day, the Roswell Army Airfield sent troops. They collected every piece. They warned locals to stay silent. They even escorted Brazel away for questioning. Then the headline: RAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. A flying saucer? published by the U.S. military. The story exploded, but 24 hours later, they changed everything. 3. The sudden weather balloon story. The military called a press conference. They showed pictures of officers holding tinfoil and wood sticks. "This is what crashed," they said. "A weather balloon." Wait, did they forget they already admitted it was a flying disc? Reporters were confused. Locals were stunned. But the message was clear. Forget what you saw. Forget what you read. And just like that, the cover-up began. 4. The man who wouldn't stay silent. His name was Major Jesse Marceau. He was the intelligence officer who first recovered the debris. In 1978, he spoke out. He said the material wasn't from Earth. He held it in his hands. He knew the difference between a balloon and something not made by humans. "I was part of the cover-up," Marcel said. "We were ordered to lie." Other witnesses came forward. Military nurses, radar operators, even undertakers. They told stories of strange bodies being transported in sealed boxes, military vehicles moving under heavy secrecy, people being threatened to keep quiet. 5. Theories begin to grow. Over the years, dozens of theories exploded. Theory 1: alien craft crashed. A real flying saucer malfunctioned, maybe struck by lightning and crashed. Inside were alien beings, some injured, some dead. The military recovered both craft and crew. Theory 2: human-alien encounter. Some believe it wasn't just recovery, but direct contact with extraterrestrial life. The Roswell crash was the beginning of secret communication. Theory 3: reverse engineering begins. What if the crash gave the U.S. a technological edge? Lasers, fiber optics, night vision. Did it all come from Roswell? Theory 4: psychological experiment. A darker theory. Was it staged? Was Roswell a social experiment to study how humans react to UFOs? 6. The government's later response. In 1994, due to rising public pressure, the U.S. Air Force released a report. They admitted something new. The crash wasn't a weather balloon. It was Project Mogul, a top-secret balloon used to detect Soviet nuclear tests. But wait, why say weather balloon in 1947, then spy balloon in 1994? And what about the bodies witnesses claimed to see? Their answer: crash test dummies, dropped from planes, wrong timelines, wrong details. It didn't add up. People weren't buying it. Not then. Not now. 7. Documents, leaks, silence. Declassified documents reveal one thing clearly. Roswell is mentioned often in CIA memos, in Air Force intelligence, even in nuclear files. Why mention a weather balloon in top-level intelligence for decades? What's more, thousands of pages remain redacted, blacked out, with entire paragraphs removed. What are they hiding? 8. U report, modern confirmation. In 2021, the U.S. government released the UAP report. UAP equals unidentified aerial phenomena, aka UFOs. It said 144 military UFO sightings could not be explained. Many showed unusual movement and advanced tech. Some defied known physics. Roswell wasn't mentioned, but the message was loud. There are things in our skies we don't understand. It took 70+ years to get that admission. 9. If you were there, would you believe it? Put yourself in Mac Brazel's shoes. You find debris that bends and heals itself. You see symbols that glow. Then you're told, it's just a balloon. Would you believe that? Or Major Marceau, a trained military officer loyal to his country. Would he risk his career just to lie? Why would so many people, across decades, keep saying the same thing? Because maybe it really happened. 10. Emotional core why IT matters. Roswell isn't just a crash. It's the moment the world changed. It's the moment we realized the truth can be controlled. Governments choose what you see. And if something too big happens, you might never know. But truth doesn't stay buried forever, especially in the age of the internet. Roswell planted a seed, and now it's growing. 11. Links to other cases. Roswell connects to everything. Area 51 became the rumored home of the crashed UFO. Bob Lazar, decades later, said he saw non-human craft at S4. Ancient Aliens theory says Roswell wasn't the first crash, just the first modern one. And then there's Antarctica last episode. Roswell showed us hiding the truth is possible, but silencing curiosity isn't. 12. WHY now? Why is the world finally taking UFOs seriously? Simple. Too many sightings. Too much data. Too many leaks. We're not crazy. We're just finally listening. Roswell was never about a balloon. It was about control. Control over belief. Control over truth. 13. Final questions. What crashed in Roswell, and where is it now? Were there beings on board? Why did Jesse Marcel wait 30 years to speak? Why are there still blacked out files in 2025? And most importantly, if it happened again, would they tell us? 14. Call to action. Go to Google. Type Roswell 1947 real photos. Read the testimonies. Compare them. And ask yourself, would hundreds of people across generations lie about a balloon? Or is it time we admit the Roswell incident wasn't the end? It was just the beginning. Why did the CIA once track extraterrestrial activity? They said they weren't interested. Then why were they watching everything? What does the CIA know that we don't? Thousands of pages of once top-secret documents say more than officials ever did. And here's the thing, they weren't just watching. They were investigating, analyzing, hiding. We're talking about real operations, real agents, real secrets. In the world of UFO investigations, one name always floats to the top: Project Blue Book. But what many don't realize is this: before, during, and after Blue Book, the CIA was quietly watching everything. And now, the truth is leaking. The declassified bombshell. In January 2017, something big happened. The CIA quietly uploaded more than 13 million pages of declassified documents to its website. Buried inside them, hundreds of files related to UFO sightings, extraterrestrial encounters, and unexplained aerial phenomena from around the world. But these weren't vague stories from random people. These were reports from pilots, military officers, and even CIA operatives. One memo, dated 1952, reads, "Unusual lights were seen over East Germany, moving at incredible speeds. Radar confirmed presence. Objects disappeared suddenly." Another, from Morocco, 1976. Brilliant circular object observed hovering over military base. Local power outage coincided. Why would the Central Intelligence Agency, the organization tasked with protecting U.S. national interests, be so deeply involved with strange lights in the sky? Unless there was more to them. Project Blue Book, the official cover. The U.S. Air Force launched Project Blue Book in 1952. Its stated purpose: to investigate UFO reports and determine whether they posed a threat to national security. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Over 12,000 sightings were documented. Of those, more than 700 remained unexplained even after exhaustive study. Some witnesses described disks with no visible engines. Others heard a low hum just before radios and electronics stopped working. The more the public asked questions, the more the government said, "There's nothing there." Yet internally, files were growing thicker by the day. And the CIA, they weren't just watching, they were quietly working alongside the Air Force. According to several former insiders, the Robertson panel shaping the narrative. In 1953, the CIA formed a special scientific committee called the Robertson Panel. Its goal: not to understand UFOs, but to control the public's perception of them. The panel concluded that while UFOs didn't appear to pose a direct threat, their effect on public opinion could, to many reports, they feared, could overload military communication channels, or worse, be used by enemy states to distract the U.S. military. So, the recommendation: debunk sightings, suppress interest, avoid panic. And just like that, the tone shifted. UFOs became a punchline, not a puzzle, coincidence, or a well-crafted strategy. Real events, real fear. In 1957, a pilot flying over Mississippi spotted a glowing sphere pacing his aircraft. It wasn't just a visual. Radar locked onto it, a solid object moving at 2,000 miles per hour, changing direction in ways no known aircraft could. CIA analysts were briefed, but the event never made it to the public. In 1964, a report came in from the Soviet Union. Their radar had tracked a fleet of unknown objects over Siberia, objects that disappeared into thin air when fighter jets approached. The US CIA took notice. The file was marked Eyes Only, top classification. Why? Because both sides of the Cold War had the same fear. What if these crafts didn't belong to either of us? UFOs over nuclear sites. In multiple declassified reports, something chilling emerges: UFOs repeatedly appear over nuclear facilities. One example: Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, 1967. 10 nuclear missiles suddenly went offline. Just before the failure, base personnel saw a glowing red object hovering silently in the sky. A second example: Ukraine, 1982. Then, under Soviet rule, several nuclear warheads activated themselves. Countdowns began. Then, just as quickly, the process aborted. Above the facility, multiple bright orbs observed by over 30 soldiers. The CIA collected intelligence on both cases. Publicly, they stayed silent. Privately, panic. Whistleblowers speak out. In recent years, more and more former officials are coming forward. John Ramirez, ex-CIA. The CIA's interest in UFOs goes beyond curiosity. They considered it a potential threat, but also potentially a discovery. Luis Elizondo, who once ran the Pentagon's ATIP program, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program: "We have objects flying with capabilities we can't match. That should scare us." Dr. Hal Puthoff, CIA physicist: "We're talking about technologies that defy known physics. We couldn't ignore them." And here's the twist: many of these whistleblowers claim that some sightings weren't just UFOs, but UAPs showing signs of intelligent control. Wait, what is a UAP? That's the new term, unidentified aerial phenomena. The government prefers it over UFO, sounds more clinical, less conspiratorial. But make no mistake, it means the same thing. And the CIA, their files use both, hidden in plain sight. In 2021, the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence (ODNI) released a bombshell. Out of 144 UAP incidents between 2004 and 2021, 143 remained unexplained. Some of these were seen on radar, some on infrared, some visually. In many, multiple systems confirmed the same thing. The conclusion: these were not glitches, not weather, not secret U.S. tech. So, what were they? The CIA knew about many of these cases and never said a word. Why the silence? Let's ask the question again. Why was the CIA watching the skies but not telling us what they saw? Theories include fear of mass panic, desire to reverse engineer alien tech, Cold War weaponization of unknown knowledge, or simply, they still don't understand what they're dealing with. But what if the real reason is darker? What if they know exactly what it is, and they're not ready to let the rest of us find out? Final thought: do you trust what they say? They laugh at UFOs. Then they filed thousands of reports. They denied interest, then funded black projects. They told us nothing was out there, but they kept watching. So the next time you see lights in the sky, the next time you hear a pilot report something impossible, ask yourself, do you believe the government's story or their behavior? Because the truth might already be in the files. And the CIA, they were never just watching the skies. They were watching us. Next time we go deeper into the files, into the lies, and into what the government may be trying to keep from the world. Why are so many witnesses pilots? Would a decorated fighter pilot lie? Would someone who risks their life at Mach speed suddenly decide to fabricate a story about a UFO? Think about it. When trained military personnel, pilots, commanders, and aviation experts begin reporting encounters with objects that defy the laws of physics, should we mock them, or should we start listening? Let's rewind to November 2004, a calm day off the coast of Southern California. The USS Princeton, part of the USS Nimitz carrier strike group, detects something strange on radar. Objects first, erratic, appearing out of nowhere and vanishing just as quickly. They're not birds, they're not planes, they're not from any known fleet. So they send out a pair of F-18 Super Hornets. Enter Commander David Fravor, a highly trained Navy pilot with over 3,500 flight hours. Not exactly the kind of person to fall for illusions. What he sees changes everything. The TIC-TC incident. It was white, seamless, oval-shaped. Fravor described it as a TIC-TC-shaped object, about 40 feet long, moving with no visible propulsion, no exhaust, no wings, no rotors. And then it shoots from 80,000 feet to sea level in less than a second. Let that sink in. This isn't science fiction. This is a military encounter, confirmed by both radar and visual contact. And it wasn't just one sighting. The radar operators had tracked these objects for several days leading up to the event. Each time, they'd appear at high altitude, hover, dart around, and vanish. Fravor tried to intercept the object. It noticed him, responded, then vanished in an instant, only to reappear 60 miles away in seconds. No human-made aircraft can do that. What did Fravor gain by speaking up? Now ask yourself, Why would a respected pilot with nothing to gain and everything to lose come forward with such a story? Fravor didn't write a book. He didn't sell a documentary. He didn't go on a speaking tour. He simply couldn't stay silent. His credibility, career, and mental health could have been called into question. Yet he chose to tell the truth. And he's not alone. More pilots, more testimonies, same pattern. Since 2004, more pilots, both military and commercial, have come forward with strikingly similar stories. Fast-moving objects, no visible propulsion, maneuvers that break the laws of physics, sudden appearances and disappearances, intelligent behavior. These aren't confused amateurs. These are professionals trained to distinguish between birds, balloons, and ballistic missiles in a split second. In 2023, former Navy pilot Ryan Graves testified before Congress, stating that UAP's unidentified aerial phenomena were seen almost daily off the East Coast during training missions. Almost daily. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern. And it's a pattern that has been systematically ignored, or worse, buried for decades. So, what are these objects? Let's be clear. They are not weather balloons. They are not enemy drones. No foreign nation has demonstrated such capabilities. They don't behave like any known aircraft. So, what are they? Graves, Fravor, and countless others say the same thing. We don't know. But whatever they are, they're not ours. The Pentagon knows more than they say. The Department of Defense formed the UAP Task Force, and later the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office AARO to investigate these phenomena. But reports are often vague, redacted, sanitized. Why? Are they protecting national security, or hiding the fact that we're not in control of our skies? Here's something chilling. Fravor once said that the TAC moved in a way that seemed to anticipate his next move. Think about that. Not just fast but aware. Not just the US. This isn't limited to America. Pilots from Brazil, Russia, Japan, and France have also described UFO encounters during flight missions. Even former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer once said, UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead. When officials and pilots from multiple countries, speaking multiple languages, start saying the same thing, maybe it's not mass hysteria. Maybe it's global. Let's talk technology. If the TAC object moved from 80,000 feet to sea level in under a second, that suggests inertial dampening, the technology that doesn't exist in human physics yet. And what about acceleration without heat signature? Even stealth jets emit heat. These things don't. There's no sonic boom, no disruption in the air. Some physicists suggest gravity manipulation. Others whisper about antimatter propulsion. Some even hint at interdimensional travel. But here's the key point. This is not about imagination. This is about military data, pilot testimony, and unexplainable facts. What if they're not lying? Let's entertain a radical idea. What if the pilots aren't lying? What if they're the only ones telling the truth? What if the reason we're not getting answers is because the truth is too big, too destabilizing, and too uncomfortable for the world to process? The stigma is crumbling. For decades, pilots were discouraged from reporting sightings. Some were laughed at. Others were quietly discharged. But now, the stigma is eroding. Government hearings are taking place. Major news networks are covering it. The New York Times published a groundbreaking report in 2017 about the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program (AETIP), a Pentagon initiative secretly studying UFOs for years. The floodgates have opened, and pilots are stepping forward, one by one. What happens next? The more we ask questions, the more cracks appear in the official story. Pilots like Fravor and Graves are not alone anymore. They are the vanguard breaking the silence that has clouded this subject for generations. And we must ask, if they're telling the truth, what else are we being kept from? What kind of technology is out there? Who built these crafts? And most terrifying of all, are they still watching us? Final thought. If a pilot risks their career to tell us something impossible, should we dismiss it? Or should we prepare for a world far stranger than we ever imagined? Because when the sky tells a story, it's usually written by those who fly it. And right now, they're telling us something is up there. The Lubbock Lights UFOs over Texas, 1951. Hundreds saw it. Boomerang-shaped lights danced across the sky. What were they? What if hundreds of people saw something unexplainably at the exact same time? What if it wasn't just a flicker in the sky, but a coordinated formation, glowing in silence, moving with precision beyond any known aircraft? That's exactly what happened in Lubbock, Texas, in August 1951. On a warm evening, a group of professors from Texas Tech College were sitting in a backyard. The sky was clear. The conversation was light. Then suddenly something impossible happened. A series of bright bluish-green lights, arranged in a boomerang formation, flew overhead at incredible speed, not once, but multiple times that night. It wasn't just the professors. Residents all over Lubbock looked up and saw the same phenomenon. Within days, hundreds of witness reports poured in. And here's what made it even more shocking. Photos were taken. The mysterious photographs. A young student, Carl Hart Jr., managed to capture 5 photographs of the lights using his Kodak camera. The images showed a curved formation of lights that mirrored what witnesses had described. Those photographs were analyzed by Air Force investigators. They were not hoaxes. They showed real light sources, moving in the sky. But despite the clarity of the images, no one could agree on what the lights actually were. Could it be birds? Reflections? Aircraft? Science had no answer. Project Blue Book gets involved. By 1952, the U.S. Air Force had launched Project Blue Book, an official investigation into unidentified flying objects. The Lubbock Lights case was one of the most puzzling. Their conclusion: they didn't have one. Investigators suggested it might be birds reflecting city lights, but witnesses pushed back. These weren't random flickers. They flew in tight formations. They moved with extreme precision, and they were completely silent. No bird, no plane, and no weather phenomenon could do what these lights did. The witnesses, professors, scientists, and everyday citizens. What makes the Lubbock Lights even more credible is who saw them. These weren't fringe conspiracy theorists. They were professors of engineering and science. They understood aviation. They understood optics. And yet, they were baffled. One witness said, "It moved faster than any jet we know of in 1951, and it was completely silent." Another added, "You could feel something was off. It was like watching a machine from the future." Were we being watched? The precision, the silence, the repetition of sightings, all point to intelligent control. So, here's the question. Who was flying those lights? One theory suggests the lights were part of a classified military test. But if that were true, why would the Air Force be investigating it? Another, more unsettling theory: the lights were not from this world. Many researchers point to the behavior of the light smooth, coordinated, beyond known technology. Could this have been a probe from an advanced civilization? Or, even more chilling, were they watching us, observing from the skies in perfect formation just beyond our reach? The silence from science. Despite the mass sightings, photographic evidence, and credible witnesses, the scientific community stayed mostly silent. Why? Some say the phenomenon was too controversial. Others believe that government pressure played a role. Either way, the Lubbock lights quietly faded from the headlines, but they never faded from the memories of those who saw them. To this day, no one has explained what happened over Texas that August night. So, what were the Lubbock lights? Let's review what we know. Multiple independent witnesses. Real photos confirmed as authentic. Silent, high-speed movement. No known aircraft or bird matches the pattern. This wasn't a weather balloon. It wasn't swamp gas. It wasn't mass hysteria. It was something real, and it was something unknown. Is science avoiding the truth? That's the uncomfortable question. Are scientists and officials ignoring the obvious because they can't explain it? Or worse, are they hiding the truth? Some believe the Lubbock lights were just the beginning of a wider pattern, one that connects to sightings across the world, from Roswell to Rendlesham Forest, from Phoenix lights to modern Navy pilots encountering tic-TC UFOs. A pattern the public isn't supposed to notice. Final thought: if the Lubbock lights were nothing, why did so many credible people risk their reputation to talk about it? If the lights were explainable, where is the explanation? And if they were a warning, was anyone listening? The sky over Texas holds its secrets. And maybe, just maybe, so do we. Ancient aliens, did extraterrestrials build the pyramids? What if everything you learned about history was wrong? What if the greatest monuments of humanity were not built by humans alone? The towering pyramids of Giza, the enigmatic Sphinx, the complex, precise structures of ancient Egypt. These wonders have baffled scientists, archaeologists, and historians for centuries. How did ancient people move multi-ton stones with primitive tools? How did they achieve mathematical precision beyond their era? And why do some ancient texts describe gods descending from the sky? Could the answer be they had help from beings not of this earth? The unsolved mystery of the pyramids. The Great Pyramid is over 4,500 years old. It was the tallest man-made structure for thousands of years. Yet its construction remains a mystery. Over 2 million limestone blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons, perfectly aligned to the cardinal points with astounding accuracy. Internal chambers and passageways engineered with precision. Archaeologists agree this was a massive feat, but many question how. No evidence of cranes, pulleys, or advanced machinery exists. No clear record of the construction methods. It's almost as if the knowledge was too advanced for the time. Ancient texts and alien gods. Look deeper into Egyptian mythology. The gods Ra, Osiris, and Anubis were described as powerful beings who came from the heavens. Some ancient carvings show beings in what look like spacesuits. Others depict objects resembling modern spacecraft. Could these gods have been extraterrestrial visitors? Were they revered because of their advanced technology? This idea is the cornerstone of the ancient aliens hypothesis. The evidence beyond Egypt. It's not just pyramids in Egypt. Pyramids in Mesoamerica, Mexico, Guatemala. The Nazca lines and paramassive geoglyphs visible only from the air. The Stonehenge complex in England. The Moai statues of Easter Island. Many of these ancient wonders show signs of astronomical alignment, advanced engineering, and mysterious origins. Ancient aliens theorists argue this points to a shared influence extraterrestrial who traveled the globe, guiding early civilizations. Modern science's response. Mainstream archaeology calls these theories pseudoscience. They argue humans are capable of incredible feats. Ancient texts are myths, not literal history. Evidence for aliens is circumstantial and speculative, but there's a growing gap. The more we discover, the less some things add up, and some scholars admit there are gaps in our understanding that are hard to explain. The pyramid's impossible precision. Let's talk numbers. The Great Pyramid's base is aligned to true north with an error margin of only 3/60th of a degree. Its sides are almost perfectly level, deviating less than 2.1 centimeters across 230 meters. The internal chamber's acoustics are so perfect they could amplify sounds, an advanced feature for the time. How did the builders achieve this without modern tools? Many experts suggest lost technology or external guidance. The role of alien technology. If extraterrestrials did help build the pyramids, what technology might they have used? Some propose anti-gravity devices to lift massive stones effortlessly, advanced surveying equipment for precise measurements, energy sources beyond combustion, perhaps beams or lasers. Could such technology explain how the pyramids were built with such speed and precision? The ancient astronauts in culture. Pop culture has embraced the ancient aliens theory. Shows like Ancient Aliens have millions of viewers. Books by authors like Eric von Däniken have sold worldwide. These theories challenge us to rethink human origins, our place in the universe, the possibility that history was influenced by cosmic visitors. What if history needs to be rewritten? If the ancient aliens hypothesis is true, it would mean our history textbooks are incomplete. Our ancestors had contact with extraterrestrials. Human civilization's rise was not entirely self-driven. That's a radical idea, one that challenges the very foundation of science and religion. Why hide the truth? If aliens visited Earth thousands of years ago, why has this knowledge been suppressed? Some suggest religious institutions saw these truths as threats. Governments hide this knowledge to avoid panic. Revealing such truths would redefine humanity's identity. It's possible that history was rewritten to hide evidence of contact with otherworldly beings. Emotional impact. What would you do? Imagine learning your ancestors were not alone, that they shared knowledge with visitors from the stars, that the pyramids were not just tombs but beacons or technology hubs. Would you embrace this truth or reject it? Would it inspire or fear? The final question. Is it time to open our minds, to ask the difficult questions, and to look at history through a new lens? Because what if the pyramids are more than monuments? What if they're messages? Messages from the past to our future. Phoenix lights a giant V-shaped object above the city. Have you ever looked up and questioned if what you're seeing is real? On the night of March 13, 1997, something massive passed over the skies of Phoenix. Arizona. Something silent, something undeniable. Thousands saw it. This wasn't a fleeting flash in the sky. It wasn't one person alone in the desert. It wasn't a blurry photo you need to squint at. No, this time, it was thousands of people, eyewitnesses from across Phoenix and even as far as Nevada reported the same thing. A colossal, V-shaped formation of lights slowly gliding overhead. Each light was perfectly spaced. The structure blocked out the stars as it passed. It was low. It was huge. It was real. The footage still haunts us. Some managed to record it. To this day, the Phoenix Lights footage remains one of the clearest, most baffling pieces of UFO video in history. No buzzing, no engines, no blinking aircraft signals. Just an enormous black triangle with lights moving in absolute silence. It wasn't just seen, it was felt. People described a deep, eerie stillness. Pets hid, children cried. Some adults did too. Whatever it wasn't normal. So, what did the government say? Cue the infamous press conference. A day after mass public concern, Arizona Governor Fife Symington held a press briefing. He'd brought out a staff member dressed as an alien, mocking the event and laughing off public fears. But years later, something changed. Symington reversed his stance. He confessed he also saw the lights and that they weren't from this world. His words, "It was otherworldly. I'm a pilot, and I know what I saw. This was not something man-made." The official explanation, military flyers. The U.S. military eventually offered a convenient explanation. Flares dropped during a training exercise. But ask any witness who stood under that V-shaped craft, and they'll laugh in disbelief. Flares don't maintain a solid formation for miles. Flares don't move silently. Flares don't block out the stars. And they definitely don't appear for hours across multiple states. The government wanted people to forget. But they didn't. They couldn't. Real people, real testimony, real fear. Police officers, Air Force veterans, teachers, doctors, parents, children. They all described the same thing. The Phoenix Lights weren't about a single blurry UFO in the sky. They were a shared moment, a collective, chilling realization. It wasn't just, "Did I see that?" It was, "We all saw that." And for a moment the truth seemed undeniable. Why cover it up? Let's entertain a question. If something not from this world flew directly over one of the largest cities in America, would the government tell us? Or would they do everything possible to bury it? Ask yourself, if it was just flares, why mock the public, then backpedal years later? Why was radar data never released? Why do thousands of official documents relating to the incident remain classified? Why is the mainstream media silent? The Phoenix Lights may be the most important UFO event in modern history, because it wasn't a mystery hidden deep in the jungle. It wasn't a blurry photo from the 50s. It was the people who saw it, the city who remembers it, the governor who finally admitted it, and the silence that followed. Some believe it was a test. There are theories that the massive V-shaped craft was part of a secret military program. Some say it was experimental stealth technology. But if so, why fly it over one of the most populated cities in the U.S.? Why expose something so secret so openly? Unless it wasn't ours. Unless it was never meant to be seen. Or worse, unless they wanted us to see it. Others believe it wasn't the first time. There are striking similarities between the Phoenix Lights and other triangle-shaped UFO sightings across the globe. Belgium, 1989. Hudson Valley, New York, Illinois, 2000. Same silent flight, same shape, same massive scale. Could it be the same craft? Or a fleet? What if it was a message? Some believe the Phoenix Lights weren't a mistake. They weren't stuff. They weren't curiosity. They were communication. A slow, peaceful, deliberate message. We are here, and whether the government wanted us to or not saw it, the public never forgot. To this day, every year on March 13th, Phoenix holds a Lights Over Phoenix anniversary event. Eyewitnesses reunite. Stories are told again. Some bring new photos. Others bring fresh theories. But all of them still remember, still believe, and still wonder why the truth never came out. So, what was it? A top-secret aircraft? A mass hallucination? A weather phenomenon? Or the moment humanity was shown something bigger than itself? You decide. But ask yourself this. If it was just flares, why are we still talking about it nearly 30 years later? Why does the footage still send chills down our spines? Why do those who saw it still remember it as the most profound moment of their lives? The Phoenix Lights aren't just a UFO story. There are men that the skies are not empty. And the truth is rarely what we're told. Coming up next, some say we didn't invent flying saucers, just rediscovered them. What if the real origin of UFOs is buried under the ice? In Part 8, Antarctica's Forbidden Zone, UFO base or Nazi secret, we travel to the most remote continent on Earth and what some say is hiding beneath it. Stay tuned. Area 51. What's so secret the US bans you from getting close? What if you could walk through the gates of Area 51 right now? Would you see alien spacecraft, frozen extraterrestrial bodies, or something even darker? Welcome to one of the most mysterious and most heavily guarded places on Earth, the Forbidden Zone. Area 51 sits in the Nevada desert, scorched by sun and silence. But this is no ordinary military base. It's surrounded by motion sensors, high-tech surveillance, and shoot-on-sight warnings. Even satellites are restricted. Why? What are they hiding? The US government didn't even admit it existed until 2013. Before that, it was just a desert on paper. But every conspiracy theorist, UFO hunter, and curious mind knew something beyond top secret was going on. The man who blew it open, Bob Lazar. In 1989, a physicist named Bob Lazar claimed he worked at a facility near Area 51 called S4. He said he was hired to reverse engineer alien technology. Yes, real alien spacecraft. Not only that, but he described an anti-gravity propulsion system so advanced it defied the known laws of physics. He claimed to have seen 9 different flying saucers. 9, each with a distinct design, each beyond human comprehension. He even mentioned a mysterious element 115 that powered these crafts. At the time, this element didn't exist on the periodic table. Years later, in 2003, scientists synthesized it and called it Moscovium. Coincidence or proof? Government denial or cover-up? After Bob Lazar spoke out, his life was torn apart. His records vanished. His degrees unverified. His reputation destroyed. But here's the twist: new details about the site that weren't public knowledge until years later. The layout of hangars, the flight paths, even security protocols. So either Bob Lazar was a master liar, or he saw something the government never wanted you to know. UFOs, technology, and reversed physics. Laser described how the alien ships didn't fly, they bent space itself. They created a distortion in gravity, allowing them to move instantly without acceleration. That's not science fiction. That's a complete rewrite of modern physics. Is it possible the US is decades ahead in technology because it's not our technology to begin with? Other insiders and former employees have hinted the same. Some even claim we've used alien tech to advance modern warfare, stealth aircraft, and radar systems. What if Area 51 isn't just hiding alien bodies? What if it's hiding the blueprints of tomorrow? Unusual sightings and strange lights. Pilots and locals have reported unexplainable lights in the skies around Area 51. Triangular shapes, sudden movements that no known aircraft can make. Silent but powerful. Satellite images have captured strange runway patterns and hidden bunkers. Some even speculate there's an underground base miles deep, a place where tests are done far from public eyes, a place where alien craft are rebuilt and tested. Why the secrecy? You can't fly over Area 51. You can't drive near it. And if you do, black SUVs will appear within minutes. Cameras confiscated. Step over the line, you might not walk back. The government claims it's for national security. But could it be that security isn't for protecting us from outsiders but from the truth? The 2019 Storm Area 51 event. Remember Storm Area 51? It started as a joke. Let's see them aliens, the Facebook post said. Millions responded. But when the date came, the military stood ready. Barbed wire, troops, a deadly silence. Why so afraid if there's nothing to hide? The big question, what would you see inside? Imagine stepping past the barbed wire, the desert heat pressing down. A steel door opens. Would you see an alien craft hovering in a lab? Would scientists be decoding a message not meant for humans? Would you see bodies frozen in time? Would it change everything you thought you knew? Or would you find nothing and realize the real secret is why they made you believe something is there? Maybe it's all a game of misdirection. Some theorists believe Area 51 isn't the real site. It's the distraction, a decoy. The real experiments, they're happening somewhere else beneath the ocean, in deep Arctic caverns, even off-planet. But Area 51 remains the symbol, the myth, the black hole of truth. So, what if you had one day inside? One day. No cameras, no guides, just you owned the full access pass. What would you ask? What would you search for? Would you leave changed forever? Final thought. Bob Lazar once said, the biggest secret is not the existence of aliens but the power to erase truth. Is that what's inside Area 51? Not just crafts and bodies, but control over what we're allowed to believe. And if that's true, shouldn't we all be asking, what else are they hiding? Next episode, we follow the trail of an ancient carving in South America that looks like a launch pad thousands of years old. Coincidence? Or did ancient civilizations once witness takeoffs? Why do so many UFOs appear near nuclear bases? The Malmstrom incident, and a silent message from the skies. What if someone is watching our most destructive weapons? Not to steal, not to attack, but to warn. Since the dawn of the nuclear age, strange lights and unidentified flying objects have hovered near military installations. Coincidence? Or is there something much deeper, something cosmic we've been ignoring? Let's rewind to one of the most chilling cases ever recorded. The Malmstrom Air Force Base Incident. March 1967, the night missiles went dark. In the cold plains of Montana, the Malmstrom AFB housed Minuteman intercontinental ballistic missile weapons capable of destroying entire nations. On a quiet March night in 1967, something happened that shocked even hardened military personnel. A UFO was seen hovering just outside the base. It was silent, glowing, massive. At that very moment, nuclear missiles went offline, completely disabled. No power, no control, no explanation. The technology that should have been impossible to hack was suddenly shut down. No alarms, no sabotage, no signs of damage. Just a hovering object, and a complete loss of control. The whistleblower, Robert Salas. Decades later, Robert Salas, a former U.S. Air Force captain, went public. He was in the command center that night, and he remembered the alert, the panic, the call from his guards reporting a red glowing object in the sky. What he revealed was chilling. Our missiles shut down one by one. We were helpless. Then the UFO disappeared, and the missiles came back online. His testimony was not alone. Other officers confirmed similar incidents across multiple nuclear facilities from the US to the Soviet Union. This isn't just an American problem. Across the globe, nuclear sites attract UFO activity. Soviet Union, 1982. A UFO allegedly initiated the launch sequence of a missile without human command. United Kingdom, 1980. The infamous Rendlesham Forest incident occurred near a nuclear weapons storage area. Japan, 1994. Pilots reported a formation of lights hovering near a nuclear reactor. Why would these craft appear only near nuclear assets? Why not airports, stadiums, or government buildings? Are they sending a message? Here's a theory that sends chills down the spine. What if extraterrestrials are monitoring our nuclear capabilities, not because they fear us, but because they fear for us? They may see our nukes as a threat to the planet and to them. Think about it. Nuclear war doesn't just kill humans. It affects climate, oceans, and the magnetic field. Detonating too many could ripple into space, messing with signals, or worse, disturbing a cosmic balance. What if they're not here to invade, but to prevent self-destructs? And what better way to send a message than to shut down the very thing we believe makes us powerful? Under surveillance. Let's connect the dots. UFOs appear near nuclear silos. They disable weapons without physical contact. Governments remain silent or dismissive. Multiple whistleblowers speak out, still think it's just a coincidence. Or maybe we're being watched, monitored, evaluated. Every war game, every missile test. They know, and they wait. So why doesn't anyone talk about this? Great question. Governments are terrified of mass panic. If the public knew that something can disable missiles effortlessly, we're not the most advanced species on Earth, and these beings don't need our permission. What would happen to global order? Even Robert Salas said he was ordered to stay silent for decades. The nuclear custodians theory, a growing belief in the UFO research community, is this: they are the custodians of nuclear responsibility. Not gods, not saviors, but watchers. They do not interfere with politics. They do not take sides. But when humanity inches too close to the red line, they appear. What if it's all a test? Another theory suggests this is an interplanetary ethics test. Will we destroy ourselves? Will we learn restraint? Are we ready for interstellar contact? By observing how we handle our most dangerous technology, they're judging our maturity as a species. And so far, our report card doesn't look great. The scariest possibility of all. What if these sightings, these shutdowns, are warnings we're ignoring? Every time we pretend it's weather balloons or equipment failure, we close the door a little more on the truth. Maybe the message isn't just about war. Maybe it's about our place in the universe. That we're not alone. That we're being watched. And that our most powerful weapons aren't really ours to use without consequence. So, what now? Here's what we know. The Malmstrom case is real. The whistleblowers are credible. The shutdowns happened. The lights in the sky are not imagination. Now ask yourself, what kind of intelligence can remotely deactivate nuclear weapons? And more importantly, why are they here? The disappearance of UFO scientists silenced or taken. What if the truth got you killed? What if simply asking questions meant you'd vanish forever? Throughout history, those who dared to get close to the truth about UFO scientists, whistleblowers, and researchers share a disturbing pattern in common. They disappear or die mysteriously. No one talks about it. But the list is growing. The pattern that terrifies. Start digging deep into UFO research, and you'll find something chilling. It's not just sightings. It's not just government cover-ups. It's the people who tried to expose them and were never seen again. Take Dr. James E. McDonald, for example, an atmospheric physicist, highly respected in his field. He openly challenged the U.S. Air Force's dismissals of UFOs, testifying before Congress that the phenomenon was very real and possibly extraterrestrial. Months later, he was found dead. The official cause, suicide. But no suicide note was ever found. His research vanished. Coincidence or warning? Brilliant minds gone too soon. Dr. Morris K. Jessup was another. He was one of the earliest scientists to analyze UFO phenomena with a scientific lens. He received letters from a mysterious Carlos Allende referencing secret Navy experiments like the Philadelphia experiment, a supposed attempt to make ships invisible or teleport. Jessup became obsessed. He tried publishing his findings. Shortly afterward, he was found dead in his car, also ruled a suicide. Gas hose in the window, same pattern. But friends say he was in good spirits the day before. He had just scheduled a meeting to discuss new research. His files never recovered. Too many of these stories sound the same. They were getting close. These weren't conspiracy theorists. They were highly educated, peer-reviewed, published minds. They had access to classified documents, insider testimonies, and military data. And the deeper they got into UFOs, the closer they seemed to get to something forbidden. Then the accidents started happening. Dr. Vicky Wyman, a computer scientist specializing in satellite imagery, known for analyzing odd patterns in Earth's magnetic field. She believed something was interfering from space. Disappeared on a hiking trip, body never found. Her last words to her sister: "If I don't make it back, tell them I was right about the signals." The question no one answers: who are them? The threat of being silenced. There's a term often whispered in UFO communities: Men in Black. No, not the Hollywood version. The real ones. Witnesses claim they appear after UFO sightings or leak attempts, dressed in black, cold, robotic, almost inhuman. They threaten, they erase evidence. Sometimes people, Some researchers think these aren't even government agents, but something else entirely. Extraterrestrial operatives, biological constructs. No one knows. What we do know is that the fear is real and it keeps people silent. The missing files phenomena. It's not just people vanishing. It's data, files, research, proof. Time and time again, families of missing scientists report something strange. Hard drives wiped, papers gone, notebooks shredded. It's as if someone comes in after the fact to scrub the truth. In the case of Dr. John Brady, a nuclear physicist who had been investigating power surges near alleged UFO hotspots, his wife reported that their home was completely cleaned out after his death, but not by police, by unknown men in dark SUVs. They had no badges, no warrants, and no one stopped them. The FBI said they weren't involved. So, who was? The whistleblowers who still speak. Not everyone disappears. Some whistleblowers have managed to survive, but all of them say the same thing. They're being watched. Bob Lazar, the man who exposed Area 51's alleged reverse engineering of alien craft, claims his life has been under surveillance ever since. He reported break-ins, wiped academic records. His entire identity was nearly erased. But he kept talking. He said the technology he saw was not of this world. Gravity manipulation, antimatter reactors, things that defy modern physics. And the government, according to Lazar, they'll do anything to keep it hidden. Who benefits from silence? So, here's the big question. Why would anyone kill to keep UFOs a secret? Is it fear, control, power? If alien technology really exists, whoever possesses it has the ultimate advantage. Unlimited energy, instant transportation, weapons decades ahead of anything on Earth. No government wants to lose that edge. And if scientists get too close, expose too much, they're a liability. Or did they choose to vanish? Now here's a darker theory. What if they didn't die? What if they didn't disappear unwillingly? What if they were taken? Some believe alien intelligences may be abducting humans not for experiments, but to collaborate. A radical idea, yes. But some say these scientists may have been offered something. Access to otherworldly knowledge, a chance to work beyond Earth, to understand the universe itself. Would you say no? Ask yourself, if you had proof that UFOs were real, if you found undeniable evidence, would you release it, even if it meant risking your life, even if it meant they came for you next? This is not a story about aliens. It's a story about fear, about power, about silence. It's about how the most brilliant minds of our time tried to tell us something and paid the price. Closing reflection. The next time you read about a UFO researcher dying suddenly, ask yourself, was it really just an accident? And the next time you see a glowing object in the sky, think about the people who tried to warn us and wonder, what did they find that we were never supposed to know? Google Earth and other mysteriously blurred locations. Who decides what you're allowed to see? Have you ever zoomed in on Google Earth and suddenly boom, it goes blurry? 1 second, you're exploring remote tundras or distant mountain ranges. The next, a strange pixelated fog covers the land. No warning, no explanation, just blocked from sight. And it's not just the South Pole. Across the globe, there are numerous regions that Google has blurred, distorted, or completely removed from public view. The question is, why? And more importantly, What are they hiding? The curious case of the Honobu base, Russia. Let's start in Russia. Buried deep in the Siberian wilderness, near the Ural Mountains, lies a location that has sparked endless online speculation. It's allegedly the site of a Honobu-style base named after the legendary Nazi UFO disc projects from World War II. Try to search for it on Google Earth. You'll find nothing, or rather, a strangely cut-out patch of land. The surrounding area is visible in HD clarity, but this one section, blurred like someone took an eraser to the pixels. Some believe it's just a military base. Others, they say it's an operational site for anti-gravity craft possibly inherited from recovered alien tech. One theory claims the Soviets found remnants of Nazi UFO experiments and took them underground, literally. And now, decades later, someone still doesn't want the world to see what's going on there. But this is just the beginning. The deleted island, Indonesia. Next, let's head to Indonesia. More specific, Kalido, an island that no longer exists. Not sank, not eroded, just deleted. In 2016, amateur digital cartographers noticed something strange. A small island off the coast of Papua had been present in previous satellite images, but in newer updates, it was gone. Some assumed it was a glitch, but others pulled out archive snapshots using older Google Earth data, and there it was again, a distinct island covered in lush green vegetation and surrounded by unusually calm waters. Theories began to fly. A secret base, an ancient alien landing site, or something so important it had to be digitally erased. The location had no official name, no history in tourism records, and locals refused to speak about it when asked. It's almost as if they were warned not to. What's happening at the Arctic Circle? Most people talk about Antarctica, but very few mention its twin, the Arctic. And guess what? There are regions near the North Pole that are blurred too. Parts of Greenland, unknown islands in the Barents Sea, glacial ridges near Svalbard that seem to have unnatural symmetry. Researchers and UFO enthusiasts argue that these locations match descriptions from classified U.S. Navy reports, documents hinting at unexplained electromagnetic signals and interference zones. Some say these are entry points, gateways into the fabled Hollow Earth. Others say they're hangars for unidentified aerial vehicles camouflaged by ice, shielded by magnetic distortion. It's not just theory. Pilots flying near these zones have reported instruments going haywire, sudden loss of GPS, and sightings of glowing, metallic orbs rising from the ice. Still think it's just blurry snow. Google's official statement and why it makes no sense. Google has always claimed that any blurred or missing areas on Earth are done at the request of governments or private parties for national security or privacy. Fair enough, but ask yourself, why would uninhabited land in the Arctic require censorship? Why would an uncharted island in Indonesia need to be hidden? And who decides these areas are off limits to your eyes? It's not you. It's not me. It's not even your government necessarily. Some believe that a higher global Antarctic unseen coalition controls the digital map of our planet, and they may be more interested in hiding what's above us and what's below us than we realize. Coincidence or censorship? Here's what we know. Over a dozen regions around the world are intentionally blurred or blacked out on Google Earth. Many of these areas correspond with historical sightings of UFOs, strange magnetic fields, or unexplainable disappearances. And no one, not even journalists or scientists, has been able to get clear answers as to why. The more we dig, the deeper the mystery gets. Why blur these plus if there's nothing to hide? Theories that keep surfacing. Here are just a few of the theories that keep circulating online. Ancient alien bases buried beneath mountain ranges. Hidden entrances to underground civilizations. Launch pads for anti-gravity vehicles. Stargate size, actual interdimensional portals, or simply locations where governments cooperate with extraterrestrials. Do any of them sound too wild? Now think about this. 20 years ago, the idea of UFOs being real was considered ridiculous. Today, governments around the world are slowly declassifying files admitting they've been tracking non-human technology. So maybe the wildest theory is the one that insists there's nothing strange at all. You are being curated. This is not just a conspiracy. It's about information control. You live in a world where what you see is not what exists but what you are allowed to see. Your map has already been edited. The places you can explore are filtered. And if you try to look too deep, you hit a wall of pixels. Like someone drew a curtain across the secrets of the earth. So ask yourself, what are they hiding? And why now? Why blur these places at a time when disclosure feels closer than ever? Project Serpo, a secret exchange program with aliens. Could humans have once lived on another planet? And why did only 8 come back? Would you volunteer to leave Earth forever? Would you trust the government if they told you they made contact with aliens and even sent humans to live with them? Because that's exactly what Project Serpo claims. And the craziest part, some say it's not science fiction. It's history you were never meant to know. The leak that shocked the internet. In 2005, an anonymous source and on only as request Anonymous began posting shocking information to a private UFO group. What they shared would go on to become one of the most controversial UFO conspiracies of all time. They claimed to have access to secret government documents. Inside them, details of a classified U.S. government program called Project Serpo, an alleged top-secret exchange program between Earth and an alien race from the Zeta Reticuli star system. 12 humans were reportedly selected, 6 men, 6 women, all military personnel, all volunteers. They were trained, briefed, and eventually launched aboard an alien spacecraft in the year 1965. Their destination, a planet called Serpo. The mission, life beyond Earth. According to the leaked information, the 12 humans spent over a decade living with the aliens. They studied alien technologies, learned the alien language, and adjusted to a completely different atmosphere, gravity, and way of life. And yes, some say they even formed emotional connections. But here's where the story gets darker. When the mission was complete and the humans returned to Earth, only 8 came back. 2 had died on the alien planet due to complications from the new environment. 2 others chose to stay behind. Why? No one knows. But the 8 who returned were allegedly quarantined, debriefed, and sworn to secrecy. They were never allowed to speak publicly, and all government documentation buried, classified, gone. Connections to real events. Many researchers have pointed out strange coincidences. In the 1960s, the U.S. military did in fact conduct mysterious high-altitude and space-related operations that remain classified. Astronauts from Project Gemini and Apollo missions often spoke of strange sightings during their flights. Even more chilling, the Roswell incident in 1947 involved claims of a crashed UFO and surviving extraterrestrials. Could Project Serpo be the result of contact made at Roswell? Could this exchange program have been humanity's first diplomatic relationship with beings from another world? The Zeta Reticuli mystery. The alien race mentioned in the Serpo documents were said to come from Zeta Reticuli, a binary star system 39 light-years away. Does that name sound familiar? It should. In 1961, Betty and Barney Hill claimed to have been abducted by aliens. Under hypnosis, Betty drew a star map of where the aliens came from. Years later, astronomers matched that drawing shockingly well to Zeta Reticuli. Coincidence? Or another puzzle piece in a much bigger truth? The documents, alleged government reports leaked by Anonymous, included logs from the astronauts, detailed descriptions of alien life, societal structure, planetary conditions, and technology. The most viral parts include time on Serpo passing differently than on Earth, relativity effects, the aliens being non-hostile, highly structured, and deeply curious about humans, a strange energy-based communication system, a society with no concept of money and the contribution. Critics argue the documents are an elaborate hoax, but believers say the level of technical detail is too specific to fake. So, who's right? And more importantly, why would someone make all this up? Why this story refuses to die? Project Serpo isn't just another alien story. It hits deep, because if it's real, it means the government has had contact with aliens since at least the 1960s. We've already traveled to another planet, and our place in the universe is not as isolated as we thought. Even more disturbing, if 12 people were sent, are we sure it only happened once? The moral question: would you want to be one of the 12? Would you trade Earth, your family, your life for a chance to be humanity's ambassador to another world? Some say it's the greatest honor. Others say it's suicide. But the 8 who returned, they were never seen again. Not publicly. Not by anyone outside classified circles. What did they experience? What did they learn? And why did they vanish? Final thought: if even 1% of Project Serpo is true, then history isn't just incomplete. It's been rewritten. By who? And for what purpose? Are we just an experiment of a higher civilization? Here's the grand finale, a chilling question, a web of theories tied together, and a whispering thought you've had all along: you are not alone. Do you ever feel watched? Not just paranoia, not your neighbor, but something deeper, something above. Every theory we've explored, UFO sightings, blurred bases, secret exchanges, led us here, to this terrifying, magnificent possibility. We are not the pinnacle of evolution. We are not the creators. We might be the creation, a controlled evolution. What if human evolution wasn't a random miracle? What if it was guided? Several whistleblowers and fringe theorists have pointed to an unnerving idea: the human race is a bioengineered species, part of a grand experiment by an advanced civilization. Take the ancient astronaut theory. It suggests that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth thousands of years ago, genetically modifying early hominids, not out of kindness, but for data, our intelligence, language, and even spiritual beliefs, possibly coded into us like software in operating system. And like any good experiment, we're being observed, constantly, surveillance or shepherding. Why do so many UFO sightings share a pattern? They appear near nuclear sites. They hover during wartime. They show up before natural disasters. Are they protecting us? Or monitoring test subjects? Think about it. A civilization capable of interstellar travel would likely view us as primitive. They wouldn't need to invade. They'd already be her quiet, hoped, collecting data. Many claim abductions involve medical procedures, implants, memory wipes, science fiction, or clinical routine. The farm hypothesis. A darker theory exists, one that chills the soul. We're not just washed, we're harvested. This is known as the farm hypothesis. Earth is a biological farm, and humans are cultivated for reasons unknown: energy, emotion, reproduction, or resources. This could explain sudden spikes in mass disappearances. The eerie silence of deep space. Maybe we're quarantined. Why contact is never directly suggested, teased, manipulated. What if the Greys and Nordics aren't invaders but lab assistants? Consciousness itself engineered. Another angle, our minds are the experiment. What if higher beings aren't testing our biology, but our choices, our morality, our evolution of consciousness? This aligns with religious texts across culture, stories of gods watching humanity, giving free will, testing faith. Modern scientists, like simulation theorists, echo this eerily. What if our world is not physical, but a highly advanced simulation built by a civilization so advanced their science feels like magic? Elon Musk once said, "There's a 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance we're in base reality." Is the truth hidden or just too big? Governments may have silenced some evidence, but maybe the real reason you don't know the truth is because your mind isn't ready for it. This is called the cognitive shield theory. It proposes that extraterrestrials don't need to hide. They simply operate at a level of reality we can't yet perceive, like radio waves to a stone. You don't see them because you're not built to, until you evolve. The puzzle pieces now fit. Let's connect the dots. Blurred zones on Google Earth, possibly bases or gateways. Project Serpo, test run for interspecies contact. UFOs, observation drones. Hollow Earth, underground labs. Missing people, variables removed or relocated. Ancient myths, coded truths. All these stories aren't isolated. They are puzzle pieces of a design far older and far bigger than we can comprehend. Why do you feel this way? Why does your gut twist when you hear stories like this? Why does a part of you believe? Maybe because something inside you remembers being watched, being chosen, being tested. That dream you had when you were 6, of flights, a voice, and floating in air. Was it a dream? Or was it contact? Final thought. What if it's all true? Here's the scariest, most beautiful idea. They're not hiding the truth from us. We're hiding from it ourselves. We build distractions. We laugh off conspiracy. We call it fantasy, fiction, paranoia. But deep down in DNA, beyond culture, beyond reason, you've always known. We're not alone. We never were. We were built to discover. And now maybe we're ready to remember.